I am very excited. Today we are going to be talking about unexplained infertility explained. And we have FDN, Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Practitioner, Beatriz Mendez with us today, and she is going to talk all things unexplained infertility. So this is the Real Results Show, where every week we feature real practitioners getting real results for themselves and for their clients. So like I said, today I have Beatriz with me. I am your host, Piper Gibson, and we are ready to dig in. So Beatriz, I would love to know if you'd share a little bit about what inspired you to become an FDN.
Wow, actually it was my own infertility journey.
Okay.
Which led me here. So I graduated IIN in 2015. That was my first the first touch that I have with nutrition in that sense, or coaching. And it was thanks to my physical therapies, who I went for about 10 years because I have some back pain from sport injury. Mm-hmm. And she was the one who led me into nutrition and encouraged me to make nutritional changes. I was living really stressful life, job, high investment banking, long hours, all-nighters, exercising a lot, eating as fast as I could, but still really over the place. So she encouraged me to do certain changes. I did them. They worked miracles on me. And it was just it made it click. So for me, it was just if this is working for me, there's going to be something else. So it has to work for everybody else. There has to be something, and I need to learn this. So I started with the IIN, and then it was from the IIN that I moved to the FDN, through a friend indeed. So yeah.
And so now you are helping people who have been in your situation.
Yeah, exactly. All the way.
Awesome. So if you are just joining us, I want you to drop the word hormones below this video, and we are going to send you our HPA Access Hormone Guide and our HPA Access Hormone video. So everybody watching, drop the word hormones below, and we are going to send you that. We would also love to know where you are joining us from today. So I am in New Mexico. Beatriz, where are you located?
My practice is in New York City, but I'm currently in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, exotic. Yeah. My parents happen to live here, and with the pandemic and the schools closed, we just came here for a few months, and we decided to stay a little bit longer. And we will be coming back to New York, I guess, summer.
Well, that's really awesome, because that's just proof that you can be an FDN and you can work from anywhere in the world.
That's right.
Absolutely. So that is really incredible. And then, Stephanie said she's joining us from Arizona.
Ooh. Arizona, wow.
Warm. Yeah, we're right next door to Arizona, so we have similar temperature. Arizona is usually a little bit hotter, but. All right. So I would love to know when did you take the FDN course, and how long did it take you to graduate?
So I graduated February 2019. And for me, it took me a while. It took me about 2 years to complete it. I was in a very peculiar situation. I discussed it with Brendan at the time, and I think I was the only case. I was doing the FDN from China. I was living in Shanghai at the time. So the thing is, the Chinese walls regarding internet are real. So we could spend months without any kind of internet connection. Anything that was outside China, we couldn't access. We couldn't use Google. We couldn't use WeChat. We could use, all the things. If you didn't have an VPN, and then even with a VPN, sometimes it was a real struggle. So it took me a while because I couldn't, download everything, study by myself, and then do the exams and things. So whenever I had a connection, I just jumped into it. I studied as fast as I could, but then I got, 2 months, no connection. So it took me a while. Also, I couldn't run all the tests because from China, we couldn't send all the tests to Australia at that time with NutriPath or back to the US. But I was lucky enough my husband and I were relocated to the United States in the end of 2018 to New York. And that's when I could fully focus. And in 2 months, I was able to just finish it.
Awesome. So how are you building your business or your practice as an FDN? Like, how are you putting it together?
So I was offering some coaching services before finishing the FDN, but I was still keeping my corporate job. When we moved to New York City, I just decided I just had my third son, so I was on my maternity leave, and I decided that was like the perfect timing. Like everything just came together, and it was really the perfect timing to just quit my corporate job and then fully focus on building my private practice. So I finished FDN on February, and then April I set up my company, and I started offering health coaching plus the testing that we learn at FDN. And it's been a wild ride since. So I'm getting a lot of referrals at first. A little bit like different. I didn't have a niche by that time, so I knew I wanted to focus on hormones, but still I was just helping men, women, digestive, hormone, like all sorts of different conditions. But I always knew that I wanted to do something about hormones and more focused on fertility. I just didn't know how. So it was actually through FDN and the FDN community. I met Kendra Perry. And so I joined her 360 mastermind program, and she's helping me to build a practice. And it's been awesome. It's been awesome. I can say I'm fully booked for the end of the year. I still have a waiting list for January and February, and it's going really great.
That is amazing. I love that. So I really want to dig in and ask you about working with your clients who are experiencing the infertility. But one thing I really want to know is that a lot of people feel like New York has some really strict laws about being able to do lab testing. So how are you working as an FDN and using the lab testing in New York?
Yeah. So New York State is really restrictive, especially for the clients that are living in New York City. Luckily, not most of my clients are living there. So most of my clients come either from Spain. I'm from Spain. Europe, I do have some clients in the US, but they're mostly like Latin Americans, Spanish speaking. But what I did was actually run the FDN2 level certification with hormones, blood chemistry. So I was kind of like specialist more on the Dutch test. I also had to train on the GI-MAP, which are two of the tests that I can run in New York or anywhere where I am. So I focused on those two mainly. Dutch test is a test that I include with all my clients, all my fertility clients. I have two signature programs. Both of them run a Dutch test, and then the GI-MAP is for the more comprehensive one. And I also run the HTMA test, but that I do it through Kendra and her team because I cannot run in New York City. So we got like a workaround solution to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good to know because lots of people usually have questions about how you can work as an FDN in New York. So I love that answer. So thank you for answering that. So we're talking about testing. How are you using testing with your infertility clients? Why is that so important?
Well, actually, it makes all the difference, to be honest. So unexplained infertility, which is my niche, it's a very frustrating diagnosis. It's a diagnosis that you get where like everything seems to be fine. There's nothing apparently preventing you from conceiving from the medical perspective. But still, it's not happening. So, I mean, there's got to be something else, right? So coaching per se, and only without testing, it's a really useful practice, but it doesn't really help you to troubleshoot. So the thing is, with unexplained fertility, with everything going on well in terms of gynecologically speaking, there are different areas that we need to address, which are stress, thyroid, digestion, and blood sugar regulation. And those are like the four main areas that can affect your reproduction state and capacity if everything else is okay. So in that sense, that's where testing comes really handy because it helps you to actually identify what might be going on and work on the different causes upstream. So the GI-MAP, for example, it gives us a picture of what's going on in your digestive function. And the Dutch test, it just gives you like a whole picture of what's going on hormonally. So when my clients come to me and I speak to them about the Dutch test, they say like, but my hormones are okay. Like I've already tested them. I test them in blood and my doctor says they're okay, so they're fine. So we talk about the conversation about the optimal and conventional. Like everything looks fine doesn't really mean it's optimal. And then the difference between what you're making and the way your body is metabolizing those hormones. And why it's also important to know that, because you can be making enough of the good hormones, but if your body's not metabolizing well, it could actually cause a buildup and different symptoms, right? One of those could be menstrual irregularities, ending up in infertility. So testing makes all the difference.
Wow. That's awesome. So I take it for you, you said you've just had your third son. So I imagine this has been totally life-changing for you too.
Yes. Yeah, it has. I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 18 years old. And I had like all the symptoms of PCOS, and the worst, it was my worst nightmare. Like the pain, the bloating, the headaches. I fainted because of the pain. I passed out. It was crazy. So I was put on the pill, and I was never explained what that condition was, what it entailed. If I was going to take the pill, what would be the consequences of that? And it was after quitting the pill, wanting to get pregnant, where I found out that it was not that easy, right? Like everything, it was just a band-aid. So everything that was there was not helped or cured, let's say, by the pill. It was just like putting a patch on it. So I had to work on my PCOS after quitting the pill. And I needed to address that. And nobody actually tells you that. So my doctor didn't tell me that, didn't tell me what was going on, didn't tell me that it could be adrenal issue, that he didn't tell me that it was just an insulin resistant issue. He didn't tell me that post-pill could also, like the hormone control could also play a role there. So it's just, I was by my own. But it was when I regulated my insulin and my glucose levels, and when I regulated my stress, and when I actually nourished my body instead of like going full speed through life, which was actually what I was doing, when everything came into place and I just became pregnant right away. So yeah, for me, it was life-changing, yes.
Yay. That is just so incredible. I love it. So one of the things that I love about FDN is the FDN community. So I would love for you to share how the FDN community has supported you in your business and your health endeavors.
Well, in so many ways. The first thing that I did after graduating was joining the FDNP, which is like my first step.
Yeah.
It's amazing the way people respond to you. So anytime you post a question, anytime you have a doubt, anytime you need to know something, there are at least 10 people coming back to you, just like, oh, after this one, I try this other one thing. And then you somehow get to engage into relationships and build relationships. And many things have come to that. I am participating in several courses, like giving master classes in FDNP's seminars, webinars, courses. I met Kendra there. I met some other friends there. It's actually been, it's amazing. Like the support that the community will have, it's something totally worth it.
Yeah, I think the community is so amazing. We know that you work with infertility, and I know that you work virtually because you're in a nice, fabulous tropical location at this point. But do you work full-time or part-time?
I do work full-time. Yeah, 100% full-time.
Awesome. And how can interview listeners get in touch with you? Do you have a website, social media? How can people find you?
Yeah, I do have a website. Actually, I do have two websites. I have it in Spanish and in English. So the website is www.beatrizmendezdelrio.com, which is my name and my surname. And then for the Spanish website, it's just the same /Spanish. And then on the Instagram, my handle is Beatriz_fertility nutrition. And the way I do is I post in English, but the stories are in Spanish. So that way I can manage to have the same account, one single account with both languages, and serve the community in both languages. Otherwise, I would just need to have two, and it's so much work. It turns out it's working, so yeah.
I love that. I love that you do it in English and Spanish, because I know that we've got people that are like, I need someone who can work with me in Spanish, and there needs to be more people who can do it in
totally
language.
I agree.
Awesome. Well, I love that you do that. So do you have a number one tip, tool, or resource, something that you learned from FDN that has made all the difference in your personal health or as a health professional in order to get real results for people?
Well, I would say the number one tip is never do this alone. Like you need all the support in the world. I don't like to ask for help. I'm like a type A personality. I can do my own things. I can solve my things, my troubles, everything. That's a mistake. Like the community that you have here built, it's so amazing. And you are going to need help. And everybody is going to be there to help you. So rely on that. That would be my number one tip for sure. Rely on that amazing community that we have.
And what about people that maybe they're a health coach or a professional that might be watching right now and they're not quite an FDN, but what kind of advice would you have for them?
For them, I would say the same, like don't do it alone, but just hire an FDN. I mean, you need somebody to help you through your journey. Trying to troubleshoot by yourself, it's really difficult. It takes a lot of time, and having an FDN by your side, it's going to help you so much to narrow down your choices and to help you implement all the changes that you need.
Absolutely. So Beatriz and I are talking about unexplained infertility. If you are just joining us, drop the word hormones below this video. We're going to send you our HPA Access guide and our HPA Access video, which is going to talk to you all about adrenals and how everything goes together. So it's a great tool for health coaches and professionals. So don't forget to drop the word hormones below. And then finally, Beatriz, I would love to know, what about just people who are struggling in general? Do you have something that you'd love to share with them?
Well, one thing that I learned in FDN and that I apply with all of my clients is learn about stress. Like the way stress affects us, it's amazing. And the thing is, learning how stress is not what we think. Like we think about stress. And that's the first question that I asked my client, like, are you stressed? And they said, well, like anyone, like normal, right? It's like, what is normal? And why do you understand by stress? So mostly people understand by stress like emotional stress, emotionally related. So no, I'm okay, I have a job. Yeah, maybe I have like a not that good of relationship with my parents, with my boss, with whatever, but everything has to do with emotional part of the stress. So learning about how emotional, it's only a tiny piece of the stress puzzle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to make a huge difference, because most of the time, even for my infertility clients, the keywords is stress. The stress is the beginning of everything else, and it's the stress cascade. So it's there. Stress is the word. That's the keyword where you really need to work on.
Yeah, that's a key word I use with my clients, and I work with a totally different set of clients. I'm working with children and families, and that is absolutely something that I teach them as well, is stress. And it's not just emotional, but the biological stress, the physical stress, the environmental stress, like toxins and things like that. So, you're right. People absolutely associate stress with an emotion or a feeling, like I feel so stressed, my boss is a jerk, but they don't look at all of the other factors when it comes to stress.
Yeah, and they're actually pretty amazed when they find out. Like, what? That is stress? Do you sit down like 12 hours a day in front of the computer with blue light? Like, that's stress. What? That's stress? Or do you over-exercise? I work with hypothalamic amenorrhea clients as well. They're mostly over-exercising and under-eating. It's like, that's stress too. So, but I'm okay. Like, I don't feel stressed. So yeah, that's really something to keep in mind on, yes.
Yeah, because even what you're eating is causing stress, because if it's something that you're sensitive to, it's absolutely going to stress out your body. So I think that is a fabulous tip, is to learn stress and not just emotional stress, but all forms of stress and how it affects the body.
Yeah.
And find an FDN to teach you how to do it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So one more time, Beatriz, tell people how they can find you in English and Spanish.
Yeah, sure. So you can find me on my website. It's www.beatrizmendezdelrio or beatrizmendezdelrio.com. And for Spanish, it's /Spanish. And my Instagram handle is Beatriz_fertility nutrition. And I do post in English, and the stories are in Spanish. So everything that I post, I translate it, either in videos or like stories through Canva, and I put them in Spanish there.
I think
you can contact me, you can DM me. I also have a Facebook page. I don't use it that much, to be honest. I should. but still, it's there. It's in my next year plan.
We'll connect your Instagram and your Facebook page.
No, I do have them connected. Yes.
There you go.
I have them.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a fabulous conversation. You made some fantastic points, and I love that you shared your story and you are going out to help people just like yourself. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you're watching the replay, drop the word hormones below. I will be back here next week. Next week, I have Reed with me on Health Coach Tip Tuesday, and I have another fabulous guest on Real Results Show. So thank you once again, Beatriz, for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.